It's the Old Bear from the Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot. And as you can see, I have on, well, it was clean before I got here. I had to feed some animals. But I got Buckeye Bigfoot shirt on. We got from her down in Tennessee this past summer. And I wanted to thank her for giving me a shout out during her 12 days of Squatchmas. And I want to thank all the ones that came over from her channel. We're glad to have you on board. We love to have you. You can come over and listen to any of the accounts that we have. It's been a little hectic this since Thanksgiving. We ended up getting COVID again. And no, it didn't kill me. I'm still here. So is my better half. And in fact, come around here, Mrs. Bear. She's the camera woman. Yeah. She's bossy sometimes. Come in here and have a seat. And
hello.
So we wanted to tell you all to have a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And may you have many blessings from throughout the year from the good Lord.
Yes.
And we expect all of you to enjoy this year and have fun and prosper, unlike we have in the last year or two. But anyway, okay, baby. We're glad to have all of you. And the reason I'm here, beside the shout out for Nance, is because I have an account for you. I was going to put this out on Christmas night, but we had other things that came up, family obligations, and well, basically, we got busy with family, grandbabies, children. We had a wonderful Christmas morning at our house, and I want to also thank KG from Wallowa Sasquatch, or as it is now, Sasquatch Shenanigans, or Wallowa Shenanigans. Thank him for the beautiful gifts that he gave us and the wonderful time that we had together on Christmas Day. He's a great guy. A lot of people don't, they take him wrong. You have to get to know the man, and he has to get to know you before he can open up and be the kind person that he is. But we want to thank him for everything on Christmas Day that he had got for us. He got us a family Bible. That is a precious gift in our hearts, and we thank him for it. And he signed the front of it for us. And
he and Cecil.
Yeah, and Cecil got a new chew toy for Christmas. We got him, and he's been having a ball with that. It's fun to watch him when he's with it. He gets defensive with it. He's very possessive when it comes to his chew toy. But it's been a blast, and if it wasn't for family obligations and things like that, we would have had this account out a lot sooner. So we decided on this pretty December day. It's not cold. It's actually pretty warm. It's close to almost 70, something like that. And anyway, on this account, this happened a few years ago, probably, I want to say 5 years ago. This family contacted me. I never said anything to Mrs. Bear about it because I thought it was a little bit much for her to deal with. But she's going to hear it first time, so if you hear her gasping in the background, that's her. what happened was this family had a pretty nice it happened here in West Virginia, a northern part of the state, up around Morgantown and Maryland and West Virginia state line. And what happened is this family had a wonderful Christmas day. All the family showed up, the kids, the grandkids, and they still had a couple of younger kids still at home, teenagers. And of course, you know how kids are. They get their new presents on Christmas Day, and they got to go show off in front of their buddies and their girlfriends. And you know how that goes. We've all done it. They left, and the two younger ones, teenagers old enough to drive. So they're not little kids, but to us, they are kids. You know, it's just a parent thing. And they left and came back all around 9 or 10 o'clock. Both of them were home, and they all went to bed on Christmas night. Well, about 2 a.m., they had a ruckus that was outside. Something got knocked over. I don't know if it was a grill or it was something that was knocked over on the back patio. Now they didn't have a porch; they had a patio out back, and they would cook out on it and have family get-togethers. And they had a pretty big yard. And they are not in a town. They're in, you know, one of the West Virginia hillbilly hollers. You know, sometimes you may have to pump sunshine into it. It happens. But they're in like not a cove, but the beginning of a hollow that goes back in and goes to the top of the ridge. So at that point, they go outside. Dad wakes the dad up, mom up, and he goes outside to check and see what's going on, and flips the lights on, and he sees something big and black running across the yard on two legs. Well, at that point, he's kind of like, all right, we got intruders. So he hollers for his son, one of the two that's still home, because he had a son and daughter still home. And they go out there, and with the boy takes a shotgun and dad takes a high-powered rifle. And the boy takes a couple of shots. Honey, please pay attention.
I am paying attention. I'm listening.
You're looking for Bigfoot. There ain't one here. Don't worry. We just saw 5 deer, and she's looking for a Bigfoot.
It's quiet out here.
Yeah, it's quiet, but it's not, you know, your spotty senses ain't kicking in high gear, so we're good. Anyway, everybody, they went out, and the boy shot a couple of shots the direction this thing took off, and after about 15-20 minutes, they went back inside. So that's around 2 o'clock. About 3 o'clock, this thing comes back and smacks the back of the house. I guess they ticked it off or upset it in some way, and it came back and smacked the back of the house. It'd been me. I'd probably done it differently than what they did. But that's me. Everybody has a different opinion when it comes to protecting their home, and this is a situation where you've got to protect your home. You've got to let it know that it's not wanted. And they go back out, and the dad and the son go back out with a shotgun and a rifle again, and they kind of empty the shotgun and put 3 or 4 rounds from that rifle down range towards the distance where this thing keeps running to. Now they've got 2 or 3 sets of tracks, because it was one of those Christmases that were in the northern part of the state. They had snow, and down here around us we didn't have anything. Didn't even have cold temperatures, I don't think. I think it was around 50 or 45 to 50 for the high for that day. But they went out and did what they had to do to protect their home, and then they went back inside. And at the point they went back inside, this thing come running through the yard even before they got the light shut off. Come running up to the back of the house, and I guess the boy saw it. And he turned around and he said, "Dad, it's coming back." And they ran back outside and almost ran into this thing because it was bound and determined it was going to smack the house again. Not a real smart thing to do. No, not real smart. At least not in my book. Anyway, at that point in time, this thing goes into a Mexican standoff with them. Yeah, they're standing there with guns, and this thing is brave enough to be in a Mexican standoff, thinking he's Barney Badbutt, which isn't unusual for a Bigfoot male. They get an attitude. They act like children sometimes, and this time he had an attitude that he was 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I wish I could remember times when I was like that. Long time ago. Long time ago. I'm getting too old to be doing stuff like that. Don't do stuff like that anymore. But this Bigfoot did. He decided to do what he wanted, and he starts pounding his feet walking towards these two. The boy gets scared, and the dad pushes him behind him, and he works the bolt on the rifle and throws around in the chamber and clicked the safety back off and had it at his hip, and he fired the rifle at this thing at probably 40 feet, maybe 30 feet. Well, it didn't go well. This thing went into a rage, threw a hissy fit, worse than taking a toy from a 2-year-old at Christmas time. Brand new toy. Yeah. Went running around the yard, knocking stuff over, knocked a couple of small trees over in the backyard. Scaring the daylights out of the family. The mother and daughter are inside screaming because this thing's outside screaming. Dad has done shot at this thing from the hip. Don't know if he hit it or not. They didn't find no blood, so that's probably one of the reasons that it ended pretty decently. But this thing, it would run around the yard, stop, and then Dad would shoot at it with that high-powered rifle. I don't know if he was trying to shoot through the scope and there wasn't enough light or what was going on, but he never touched it. There was no blood found whatsoever. And no, Bigfoot is not a species that does not have blood in it, nor can they just disappear in a portal or they have some kind of a force field around them. It doesn't happen with a Bigfoot. If you hit one with a rifle, you're going to know it because they bleed. Just like we do when you get shot, if you get shot. Anyway, this thing decides to break some more trees and throw a bigger hissy fit. At this point, Dad's out of shells. The boy's only got a 12-gauge pump shotgun with probably 4s or 6s in it. You know, it's something he doesn't deer hunt with that. He squirrel hunts and, you know, small game. So he's got buckshot in there for small game, 4s or 6s. Ain't gonna do no good against a Bigfoot because their hair's too thick in the wintertime. And there's a lot of muscle. It'll burn the living daylights out of them, but it'll upset one. Dad takes the 12 gauge and fires a couple of rounds at it, and it ticks the Bigfoot off. I guess it burned it pretty good. I think he shot it in the backside, which is typical for a hillbilly. You come in my yard, we'll shoot you in the butt, and then we'll track the rest of you down and get rid of you. But that happens here. It happens everywhere. If you're out in the country, you'll know that. But this thing it keeps running around the yard, knocking stuff over, kicking stuff as it's running. I guess to keep from being shot because Dad's getting a better aim. Happens. And at one point or another, he goes click on the shotgun and the thing stops and hearing the click because it didn't go off. So now the boy is opening the door and he's going through the back door. And Dad stands his ground and the thing turns and looks at him and screams at him in his face. And the funny part is, Dad screamed back. Yeah, he screamed at it. Yes, honey, that would be your husband. Yes, I would do it too. And the Bigfoot kind of done one of these maneuvers, where it turned its body and kind of looked at him differently and looked at him, just kept doing this to him. Like, oh, what the heck are you? You're just a human. And he screams at it again. And they get into a screaming match at each other. And Dad's screaming louder, this thing's screaming louder. Finally, I guess all that noise and gunshots and everything woke the neighbors up down the road, and I guess they're somewhat of a distant kin to the people that lived there. Well, they show up with their high-powered rifles. They're coming around the sides of the house. There's 3 or 4 of them that come up there. Well, it became a hillbilly shindig pretty quick. They're firing at this thing, and this thing is screaming, and finally it gets smart and it runs off into the woods. They go up there in the yard and trying to find out if they hit it, and I guess it never showed blood. And they tracked it through the woods, and somebody did evidently find a little bit of blood in the woods the next morning, because none of them wanted to go after this thing. The couple, the family members that came up there, they were a little bit older. They knew about boogers, and that's what they call them, boogers. You just don't mess with them there buggers, son. But the man defended his home. I have no problem with that. This thing coming up, slapping the house, coming up and knocking stuff over and then throwing a temper tantrum, I would have done the same. I probably wouldn't have missed. I'd have probably shot that thing so many times that it'd probably look like a cheese grater after I was done with it. Because I'm just that way. When you mess with my family or my home, I'm not afraid to fill you full of lead and make you wish that you'd never been born. And, I'm just kind of protective over Mrs. Bear. I'm very protective over our family cat. I am very protective over when it comes to KG or Cecil, because they live at our home. And something like that happened to my house, we would have an instant Bigfoot cheese grater. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's not happened to our home. Luckily, not had to deal with that, because that would scare Mrs. Bear to death, and I don't want that happening. Hence the reason I don't go out and do very many investigations anymore. But if you need me to come and help you, I'll be glad to. I got a small update for you. Lady we went and helped here back in October, she contacted me or Christmas night, and let me know that all the stuff that had been going on at our house has ceased. And I'll tell you right here and right now, that wasn't me. That was the good Lord above it did it all. I had nothing in it. But thank the Lord for intervening and helping that lady and taking care of her and watching over her. It's good to know that the Lord's watching out for people. lets me know every day that he watches over me.
He never stopped.
And sometimes I need it, according to my other half.
He never quits. He's always there. Always.
But anyway, that is the account that happened to this couple about 5 years ago in the northern part of this state near the Maryland line. And I hope you enjoy it, and we will see you on the next one. May God bless you.